All right, we're going to go ahead and get going. Thank you again for joining us today for our monthly workshop Wednesday. For this episode, we're going to discuss version 6.01 and beyond. So let's get started here. So just some quick house cleaning. This is our monthly opportunity to connect with our partners about our favorite topic, FleetCommander. This session is going to be recorded. We'll be sharing and posting it to our YouTube page for future reference. And then also please put your questions in the chat with your name and company, and we'll follow up with you directly following the webinar. We also really value y'all's feedback. So here at the beginning of the slide, we've got our survey posted. If you wouldn't mind giving that a scan and then telling us what you think about the Workshop Wednesday sessions. It only takes about 30 minutes, 60 seconds to fill out, less than 60 seconds. It's just a few questions. But the information here really helps us guide and determine what we put into the next Workshop Wednesdays and make sure that they're really focused on the information that you guys are looking to get from us. All right, so this is our client success team. We're your partners supporting you in your strategic initiatives. We're your advocates and fleet industry resources. But it's not about us today. We're really excited. We get to include new people, not new people, but additional people within the FleetCommander family to come and talk with y'all. So we're going to kick this off. Our featured guest today, we've got Alexis Geahart. She's our product management director here at Agile Fleet, and probably one of my favorite people to work with and talk to. So I'm really excited to get to hear the content that she has to share today. But before we let her tell us a little bit about herself, Brian has a couple surprise questions for her.
So we did this last month, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So we thought we'd do it again. So a couple rapid fire questions to get to know you, Alexis. iPhone or Android?
Android, all the way.
Android. All right. Being that it's St. Patrick's Day yesterday, green beer or Irish whiskey?
Irish whiskey.
All right. Phone call or text message?
Text message.
Me too. First car?
Oh, it was a Chevy Nova. It was a 1988 Chevy Nova. It was a hand-me-down from my older sister.
Excellent. A classic. All right. Last one. Granola, crunchy or chewy?
Crunchy. I love crunch. I'm a big
Crunchy
foodie,
granola.
and texture is very important to me. I love to have a little bit of crunch.
Very good. Thanks for joining it today. That was fun.
That was fun. Everybody, it's really nice to meet you. I'm Alexis Geahart, as Kristin said, and the feeling's definitely mutual. I love working with Kristin and Brian and Jen and everybody on the client success team. And actually everyone at Agile. We have a great family here. I have been here at Agile for about 17 and a half years. I think I've been here the longest, longer than anybody else. I'm definitely a dinosaur here at Agile Fleet. And always glad to meet new people and have a chance to interact with our clients. I started out on the software development team, so I was in the proverbial, basement behind the scenes writing the code initially, and then stepped up to lead the development team for a few years. And then when we created this dedicated product management position, I was really grateful to be able to step into that position, because after being here so many years, I really, really care about FleetCommander and really care about the future of the product. And I'm very happy to be here and involved in shaping the future of FleetCommander to help meet everybody's needs. And today we're going to talk about FleetCommander 6.01. This is our latest release that's rolling out. And then we'll talk a little bit about the future and what's coming up after 6.01. We'll start talking about schedule and themes. We've started really focusing and narrowing in on what's important in our product and on our release by shaping each release around specific themes. This product launch slide here is reflecting the next few releases going out. Version 6.01 is releasing this week, actually. So everybody, all of our Agile hosted clients should get the release this week. And then it's going to be posted to the portal to download and install for any self-hosted clients early in April. Version 6.02, the next release of our software, is kicking off development this week. And you'll notice on the slide that I have version 6.0201, 6.0202, 6.0203, and those correspond to iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3. And you might be wondering what that means and what are iterations. And there are some exciting changes about Agile, becoming more agile, for those of you who might know what that means. But for those of you who don't, we'll talk about it more at the end of the presentation. The first theme I want to touch base on for version 6.01 rolling out this week is some maintenance management improvements. So we made some improvements to some common workflows where there was a lot of friction, maintenance scheduling improvements, managing maintenance activities more accurately, more efficiently. And those took shape in a few work order enhancements, some maintenance task configuration improvements, improvements in scheduling maintenance management, so particularly scheduled tasks, and then some provider configuration improvements. We'll dive in a little bit deeper on those a little bit later. The next theme is also maintenance enhancements, but really focused on reporting. And we're giving you some clearer visibility into your maintenance activity, also life cycle costs and operational performance. And those changes took shape in new and improved maintenance reports and better total cost of ownership visibility and management. And we'll dive deeper into what those changes are a little bit later as well. The third theme is telematics and vehicle integration enhancements. We're continuing to expand our integration capabilities in FleetCommander, particularly with telematics providers, to just give you that real-time vehicle data and improved visibility in your fleet. Samsara is the latest integration. For those of you who were able to attend Command last fall, you saw a presentation from Samsara. They have a really nice product. If you have existing devices for Samsara already, or if you were interested in integrating with Samsara for the first time, just let us know, because Samsara is out there and available for integration to get your odometers up to date really easily in your application.
Thanks for the plug there, Alexis. Yeah, if you guys have any questions or are already using those and would like them connected to the system, just reach out to the CS team, me or Brian, and we would be more than happy to get you connected with that.
Dude.
The next theme, not maybe as exciting as the first few themes, but exciting for us because security is important. Security, authentication, and compliance. Security and authentication improvements really help strengthen our compliance and ensure continued compatibility with enterprise identity providers on your side. For anyone who uses SAML, you might know we use something on our side that works with SAML. It's the service provider on our side, just to throw in some technical jargon that probably doesn't mean much. It's called Shibboleth, but we've created a proof of concept to replace that for SAML authentication, which just will really, what it boils down to is just making SAML authentication a little bit easier for us to set up and configure. So that will be an option in the future. And then also, we pay a lot of attention to any vulnerabilities for FedRAMP. Those of you who are in the federal space are very familiar with what FedRAMP is. And even if you're not in the federal space, you also get the benefits of us being very, very tightly focused on security through that FedRAMP initiative. Anything that's found, any even minor vulnerabilities get queued up for our fixes as soon as we can complete them. So everybody benefits, whether you're in the federal space or not, from that FedRAMP authorization.
Awesome.
The next theme for the Q1 version 6.01 is platform modernization and performance. We periodically have to go through some updates to stay in sync with Microsoft and any other software or third-party providers that we integrate with. For example, Microsoft, we're on their .NET platform, as I believe everybody knows now. We've migrated from our legacy classic ASP platform over to .NET. And .NET, just like Microsoft operating systems, it gets upgraded. Periodically, Microsoft puts up upgrades with feature enhancements, security improvements, stability improvements, all of that good stuff. And so we have to then stay in sync with that. So that often requires changes to our platforms, including things like listeners and scheduler, which are little services that you probably don't hear very much about, but provide automation for our software and also integration with those telematics providers. We've also done some internal refactoring, improved unit testing practices to make our software cleaner, more up-to-date, to stay current and not accrue any technical debt. Another change we made is to retire our mobile site, and many of you probably didn't even know the mobile site existed. It was sort of a soft launch that we did many, many years ago. It wasn't very feature-rich, and so we have decided to retire it because it really wasn't widely used, and it was just one more piece of software for us to maintain in our suite of software that wasn't really providing any value, and we've decided to take a different approach to provide value for mobile devices, which we will talk about later on in the presentation. Now we'll start diving into what's in those themes and what those features are that are coming out in version 6.01 this week with maintenance management improvements. And the first change here was for work orders and part warranties. So when a part is added to a work order, there's a warranty notification that displays if that part is under warranty. On the left side, you can see there are a couple of thresholds that are stored on a part profile in FleetCommander for warranty information for how many miles and how many months that part is under warranty. And then on the right side, you see if that part is then added and the part has been added to that vehicle before, and it's within that warranty information by miles or months, then when you add that part to the work order, this window pops up and says, hey, the part you selected has previously been replaced and it may be under warranty. So this was existing functionality in the application. And then we also extended this. So this is the change that we made as part of 6.01, is to build on that initial functionality by adding that same functionality when a part is added to a work order through a template. So if you're configuring a task in FleetCommander, there are a bunch of different fields, and what you see here pictured is the parts fields. And you can set up a number of fields or different relations, parts, labor, sublet line items, so that when you add that task to a work order, it's sort of templatized, meaning all of those items that you've set up on the task then automatically get put on the work order. Well, now when you have parts that are added to the work order as part of that task template, the warranty notification will appear for any of those parts that are under warranty. A next change that we made is related to work order status reasons. So what you see here is a screenshot of a work order. This is on the general tab of the work order where you kind of set up the metadata, contact information and such. And on the right side where my purple arrow is pointing, there's a status reason. The status on a work order and the status reason really work together to tell a story about the state of that work order. You might have a set of statuses like open, on hold, in progress, on hold. Why is this on hold? On hold by itself, that high level status is great for seeing currently what's happening with that work order, but it doesn't really tell the full story. And that's where the status reason comes in, is to help you tell that story about why the work order is in that state. And now those status reasons are configurable. So once again, we've taken something that was existing functionality and we've just extended it a little bit to help make those workflows a little bit easier to use. Now you can configure your status reasons for each status option. So you are now in control of all the different reasons a work order might be on hold. You'll also see, and this is, let's see, one of the initiatives that we're really focusing on is modernizing FleetCommander. So you'll see more interfaces like this, where there's a toggle edit mode and you can flip it on and off. And that gives you the ability to edit information in line, so you don't have to go through so many clicks if you just need to change the sort order of something and make it inactive. or make several changes at one time, then you can toggle that edit mode on and make those changes just like you were editing in a spreadsheet. Just makes inline editing, makes things a little bit more streamlined, a little bit easier to use and manage. Another change that we made is to prevent work orders from being reopened once they're closed. So you can see here we have a work order that's in closed status. The options that you have now, once that work order has been closed, are to remain in closed status or to mark it deleted. And the reason behind this is really to protect your data integrity. When a work order is closed, there are several things that are happening behind the scenes, such as total cost of ownership. There are transactions for all of the costs on that work order. There are total cost of ownership transactions that are being allocated to the vehicle. There might be billing then that takes place further downstream based on those total cost of ownership transactions, or even sometimes we've got some clients who do billing directly from maintenance work order activity. If you're using parts inventory, then parts are taken out of inventory once the work order is marked closed. And then when you reopen the work order, that data is at risk because what happens with those TCO transactions? What if there are billing line items and those have already been sent off to the accounting system? Once those billing charges are posted, you really can't back them out of the system. So in order to protect that data, the best thing to do is to leave that status closed, and then you don't have to worry about any mismatches, especially where we're talking about total cost of ownership and billing transactions that can be posted and finalized. So the appropriate action to take if there's something that was incorrect on a work order is then to open a new work order, and you can make adjustments on that new work order. And this also just reinforces good review practices. Adjustments should really be exceptions and hopefully not the norm that you have to reopen work orders all the time. Too many exceptions. I think, we'd love to hear the feedback if it's causing some friction in your workflows. That's certainly not our intent. Our intent is to reinforce good review practices and protect your data integrity.
It seems like that would work very similarly to a dealership or a independent shop where you go in and have a repair done, and once it's reviewed and built out, it's part of the vehicle's history. So that's great.
Good point. Yes. Another change we made on work orders is to just give quick access to the full parts history for a vehicle from the work order header. So now on any of the tabs on a work order, when there is some parts history for the vehicle that's on that work order, you can click the link and you see on the screenshots there, the purple arrow points to the link in the header where that parts history is available. And then the lower screenshot is a sample of what the detail looks like when you open up that parts window. Sorry, I got distracted by the automated stockroom. I should have a caveat here for everybody that I did take screenshots from an internal test system. So if you see some strange things like automated stockroom, please forgive. Similarly, we made a change to the work order header so that when there are multiple technicians on your work order from any tab on that work order, you can just click view all technicians and it will show a list of all the technicians on that work order. And then the primary technician is at the top and it shows which technician is the primary technician on the work order. So that way you don't have to dig into all your tasks, and the tasks, for those of you that use work orders, the tasks are collapsible. So you might come in and see tasks, and then if you wanted to see all the technicians, you would have to expand all the tasks. This is just an easy way to click and see all those technicians, even from the general tab or the files tab of a work order.
That's great. That'll be similar to a dealership as well. If you have technicians that have different responsibilities within the shop, maybe one technician working on transmissions when you have a slew of technicians that are doing maintenance and other things. So that's great.
Or multiple sublet work that you have on there too.
Yeah,
sure. Next, this is a simple change, but sometimes quick changes can add a lot of value. We have it's called a combo box, but there's a searchable field when you create a work order for a vehicle. And now that searchable field will search for the vehicle name or VIN. So whether you refer to assets by their asset name or VIN, sometimes you might just be thinking of the last 4 digits of that VIN. You can search in that vehicle drop down by VIN number as well as asset name. We have implemented some more consistent scheduled task completion. Scheduled tasks are just repeatable tasks that you can schedule to be completed at a specific interval. And when there's a repeatable task scheduled for a vehicle and you're creating a work order, there is an option to add it right when you're creating the work order. And what you see here is just an example of what scheduled tasks look like on the asset profile. And now supposing that that scheduled task were due or near due based on thresholds that I've configured for the task when I scheduled it, and I've clicked to create a work order for that vehicle, this scheduled task appears as an option with the checkbox. You see my little purple arrow pointing to that checkbox there. And this gives you an opportunity to add that scheduled task to the work order. And then once you go continue and create work order, that task would automatically be on your tasks tab. So again, this is existing functionality. And then we extended that functionality so that now you can also choose to just add the tasks on the task tab instead of using that checkbox on the general tab. When you close the work order, that work order is then going to detect that that task was scheduled, that it was due or near due, and the schedule on the asset profile, as you see pictured on the right side of the screen, is automatically updated when the work order is closed. So now, whether you're adding the scheduled task from that initial screen where the checkbox was pictured, or whether you just add the task because you realize that you have the vehicle in the shop and that that scheduled task could be completed now because it's nearly due, you can add it through the normal add task workflow, and then the work order will detect that that task was due or near due and close it for you. So then the status on your asset profile will be marked completed. Another enhancement we made for work orders is to add some odometer validation. It's not uncommon, especially if people are wearing gloves and typing something in on a screen, to fat finger and accidentally type an extra 0 or make mileage jump. And if there's a big mileage jump in the system on a vehicle profile, that can tend to propagate itself downstream because then that starting mileage is used the next time that vehicle goes out on a reservation. So it can kind of be cause a little bit of friction for that vehicle. So now there's a new site setting on the vehicles tab under site settings, that there's a threshold there. You see my little purple arrow again pointing to the work order mileage threshold. And that will allow you to define a threshold for all the vehicles at that site to validate the odometer on work orders. And then, so this is site by site. And if you don't want to have any sort of threshold or you don't want to validate odometers, you can just leave that to 0. It applies to work orders only. And then when you're filling out the odometer on the work order, if that mileage, the last vehicle mileage that's known for the asset on that work order, exceeds the value of the threshold that you've set, you'll see that little pop-up window that you see on the screen there that shows that the mileage entered exceeds the mileage threshold. It tells you what your mileage threshold is. So in this case, the mileage threshold is 100, and it says, are you sure? Do you wish to save changes? So you have an escape route. You can say, yes, I did intend to do that, and just cancel out and save your changes as normal. Or you can say, no, I need to adjust it. I've made a mistake.
So if you guys are making a checklist of stuff that you want to add to the system, this is a good one to consider if you're using the maintenance. Also keep in mind your, like if you are doing your services at an offsite facility that's maybe a distance away, consider that distance when you're setting your parameters too. You don't want to set it too low and your shop be 10 miles away and you have it set at 5, because then it'll go off every time. So just something to keep in mind when you're setting those parameters.
Another change we've made is to just facilitate provider management This is very simple. Now, when you go to add or edit a provider in FleetCommander, you can simply mark whether that provider is in-house or not. And so it's either in-house or external, and that will facilitate downstream reporting, especially if you're doing mixed maintenance with some internal and some external provider work. We're also facilitating task management. So if you need to deactivate a task, it can sometimes be a cumbersome prospect because you're not quite sure where that task might be referenced elsewhere in the system. So now when you're looking at a task profile in FleetCommander and you look on the right side of the screen, you'll see this gray box with a bunch of information for you, and it tells you if that task is part of a maintenance plan, one or more maintenance plans, and then that links out to that maintenance plan. So when you need to deactivate the task, you can go into your maintenance plans and remove it. It will also show you buttons to review a report, which would give you access to all of the instances where that task is scheduled for one or more vehicles if you're using scheduled tasks. At the click of a button, if you really know, I don't even want to see where that task is scheduled for my vehicles, I just want you to remove all future instances, you can click that button. It will remove those future schedules for that task. It will leave the historic schedule intact. So it's not going to delete any of the work that was done, but it would remove that task, those scheduled tasks for future instances that are not completed yet. And then if the task is open on one or more work orders, it can show you at the click of the button, it will take you to an interface that shows you which work orders have that task in an open state. We've also enhanced the scheduling for scheduled tasks. There was a bit of a simpler interface, which didn't give you a ton of flexibility in how you wanted your task scheduled. So we've gone to more of an Outlook style scheduled for scheduling tasks. And you'll see some screenshots here. You can repeat every number of days, weeks, months, years, and the options on the form change depending on what you're picking. In the middle there, for example, I've chosen to repeat a task every 3 weeks, and I can pick my start date and then pick which day of the week. If you're repeating every 3 months, you can pick a specific date or the day of the month. If I picked that second radio button, it would say, okay, did you want this to be every third Wednesday? It kind of guesses what day of the month you might want to choose based on your starting date, or the last day of the month. Everybody knows the last day of the month is not always the 30th or the 31st. Sometimes it's the 29th or 28th. So you can pick just the last day of the month, and then the system is smart enough to know what you're talking about. And a scheduled task series can also be edited on an asset profile. If you've used tasks and scheduled tasks in the past and ever needed to go back and change a schedule after you had already started working on that schedule and some of those instances were completed, you really couldn't change anything. So now you can actually go back and edit a scheduled task series if you need to change the schedule. For example, if I had my tasks repeated every 3 weeks on Wednesdays and I wanted to switch that to Thursdays, I could do that, and it will update the scheduled task series downstream, leaving, again, anything that was already completed intact, so you have the history there. We're trying to make the interface more modern, but also more usable. You might hear us talk about UI, which is user interface, but also UX, which is user experience. And so along those lines, we've made a bit of a more friendly maintenance plan setup. Again, you see here, we've done that inline editing, so you can change the thresholds for your tasks on the plan. If you've ever seen the legacy version of this tab on included tasks, it shows you every single task in the system. And the more form fields you see on a page, the more difficult it is to really find what you're looking for. And also the more prone to user error. When you're looking at 100 form fields or more, you can even get performance issues. It could take a long time to load or a long time to save your changes. So now you have inline task editing, and then you can add tasks via a searchable task list, which is that little pop-up window you see. Instead of seeing one line with several form fields for every single task in the system, whether it's on the plan or not, now you only see the tasks that have been added to the plan, and you can add tasks to the plan via a searchable window instead of a giant form.
I love that as a fleet manager. Previous fleet manager, I guess.
Next, we're going to dive into the second theme around enhanced maintenance and fleet reporting. One of the first changes we made, and this has been on my list since the day I was in the software development chair. This report previously had vehicles included. This is the maintenance schedule report. This is a screenshot of the legacy version. So that report previously included vehicles, whether you had planned maintenance activity or not. As you see here in my screenshot, I'm looking at a maintenance schedule report, but I'm seeing a vehicle that has no maintenance details found. So I'm not sure that gives me a whole lot of value as a fleet administrator when I'm trying to see a maintenance schedule report and I'm seeing vehicles that don't really have any maintenance scheduled. The activity also had to be due or near due in order to appear, so you couldn't see something that was planned for 3 months out. And the format was only HTML, and it was in this format you see, which was, printer friendly, designed to print out on a page. The days of those long paper managed processes are hopefully behind us. So HTML format only is not really relevant in the modern application. So what we've done is overhaul the report, and it allows you to only include the due or near due tasks if you want to, but you don't have to. So we're not forcing you in that box. If you really only want to see what's coming up, you can check that box where you see my first arrow pointing, and that will give you everything that's due or near due, but you can leave it unchecked if you really just want to see everything, whether it's due, near due, or scheduled 3 months from now. We give you some date ranges, date range for the next perform, miles perform, all sorts of different options for reporting on this. You can report for a specific vehicle, by asset type, by site location, by maintenance plan, by maintenance task. And then you also have, or by responsible department and owner department on the asset profile. You see those on the right side of the screen. And then also you have options now to generate the report in Excel. And the report is generated in a nice tabular format, which is a little bit easier to read than the printer-friendly version. This is the tabular sample. You'll see maintenance plan, task type, labor codes, task name. There's all kinds of information presented in this table. This is a sample of what the Excel version looks like, and it tells you whether it was a scheduled task or something on a plan, as well as the last performed date, the last performed miles, and you'll also see the next time that it's required to be performed. We've also made similar changes. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, we didn't have a maintenance history report. I always keep thinking that we have always had a maintenance history report, but this is something actually we added new to the system, because not only might you want to see what's coming up in the future for your maintenance schedule, but to actually be able to report on just everything that was done. So now you can report on all of your maintenance activity historically, again, by maintenance plan, by the task, by site, location, asset. You can report on your in-house versus outsourced maintenance now that we have those flags on the provider profile, and more. Lots of different filters there. Also in reporting and enhanced reporting is managed TCO. This is, for those of you who are using total cost of ownership, it aggregates all of your vehicle costs on your asset profile. And there are also some reports in the system for getting that data out of the system. But now there's also a management interface. So all of your TCO transactions appear in a centralized location. You can sort and filter those columns to refine the list. And again, there's inline editing. So if you need to edit a bunch of transactions, you can do so. Once transactions are posted, if you're using TCO and you're posting your TCO transactions, posting in FleetCommander always means it's locked down. So here you can edit anything that's not posted. There's that toggle mode for inline editing, and you can also delete multiple unposted transactions at a time. If you're using, for example, our cost allocation tool, and you've added insurance transactions or depreciation for a quarter, and you need to back that out of the system, now you can come in. You'll see on the left side of the screen, there's a delete selected button. And below that in the left column, there's select all checkboxes. So you can select everything and delete it all at once if there's something that you need to back out before it's posted. Now, I think everybody's probably interested in hearing what's coming up next for FleetCommander. We are starting on version 6.02 this week. And 6.02 is really exciting because it really focuses on continuing to modernize the user experience. That's the UX I mentioned earlier. We're also building a framework for some AI-driven reporting capabilities, which is very exciting. We're going to give you some valuable insights into your fleet data that would not be as easily accessible without them. We're going to be rebuilding billing and account management architecture. This is going to make billing more flexible in FleetCommander, less reliance on custom fields for things like account structures. We're going to improve the reservation workflow. I think you're really going to like what you see. I've seen some screenshots so far, and I can't wait to share them with everybody. We're going to be strengthening security and compliance. This is going to be constantly front of mind. Things, especially with AI, a lot of people are even more worried about security. It's front of mind and very important for us, and we'll just continue to modernize our platform. Some of the UX and UI enhancements. I mentioned earlier that we decommissioned our mobile site, and we have decided instead, wouldn't it be great if you could just use FleetCommander on your phone? So we're going to make FleetCommander responsive. We're working through the application to give it a fresh new look that's modern and user-friendly, but also you'll be able to use it on your mobile phone, on your tablet, or your desktop. So instead of having this whole separate mobile application that you have to install through the Play Store, I said Android. So that's the Play Store.
See, Brian was prepping us ahead of time.
How did you know? So you just access the FleetCommander URL on your phone the same way that you would on your desktop. You can also use it on a tablet. As part of this, as we make all of these changes to make the site look better and make it responsive, we're also going to be standards compliant, which is really important for accessibility. So for hearing or vision impaired, we're going to adhere to the W3C, which is the World Wide Web Consortium. They have a published list of guidelines that they update, I believe, annually. And we're going to make sure that we're adhering to those standards so that we can say, yes, the site is accessible. We're streamlining all those workflows, modern layouts, fewer clicks, inline editing. I'd love to hear your feedback about what takes a long time. So definitely don't hesitate to share. It takes me so many clicks. This is a constant source of frustration. Let us know where that friction is so that we can make sure we streamline it. And then we are also redesigning our navigation. There's right now a user side of the application and an administrative side of the application. And we're going to really only show you the things that you can access. So drivers, for example, wouldn't see an administrative link and wonder what that is. What you see in the navigation are things that you can access. And then also one of the coolest features is that you'll be able to create quick links, which appear at the top. So if, for example, you spend a lot of time on the vehicle use and maintenance dashboard, you can have quick links right there so that after you log in, you can jump exactly to where you want to go. And then we're also going to be working on phase 1 of our advanced reporting. I mentioned that we're going to be adding some AI insights, which would really give you some really interesting information about your data and put that up front, including KPIs that you might not even think of. We're going to be designing and building that framework for scheduled delivery so that you can schedule your report to be delivered to you or someone else at a given interval. Customizable output, including the format. For example, if you want Excel or maybe a tab delimited format, but also being able to customize exactly what you want to see, which columns you want included in the report. Also customizable access. Who should be able to get this report? I want to share it with this person, or I need to create a report for my supervisor, so send it to them. Determine who can access that report. quick start templates. So if you're not exactly sure what you need, but think about, the canned reports we have now might be a good starting point. So you'll have some quick start templates. For example, I want to create a reservation report, and it would suggest some formats for you up front, and then you can pick and choose which columns you want and where, but start with a template. And then, as I mentioned, intelligent insights and more that give you some really interesting visualizations and insights into your data. Another exciting part of version 6.82 is configurable billing, and I mentioned that earlier. Account structure enhancements are coming. We'll be able to store accounts on departments, even for billing charge types. If, for example, you're always crediting your billing for motor pool back to a specific account, and you'll be able to store multiple account numbers there, as well as on usage types and more. Also collecting account as either a masked text field, which is possible today, or a searchable combo box. So if you have very long account strings and you don't want people to have to type in 200 character account strings, for example, those would be available in a combo box. I don't know if Michigan is here, but I know Michigan has very long account strings. And then less reliance on custom fields. There are a lot of account codes being stored in custom fields, and we're going to try to make it a little bit easier to use our built-in account structures. This is a phase 1. Automated generation of long-term charges is also included in this. If, for example, you're billing long-term charges for reservations, not when they're dispatched in, but on a monthly basis, there will be algorithms that you can bill automatically so that those charges are just generated behind the scenes and then show up on your billing tab, show up in your billing report, and just phase 1, the start, and then we'll continue to build on this so that anyone who has custom billing exports that might still be in classic ASP. We're trying to create a out-of-the-box, more standardized way to meet those needs without having to invest in customization efforts. Now, I anticipated we might get the question about when this release is coming out, and I have some exciting changes to announce. It's rolling out every 2 weeks. What does that mean? Agile is getting more agile. For those of you who have any any software development experience or any closeness to your own IT and software development teams, you might be aware of this Agile methodology. We've been Agile by name for as long as I've been here, but we're really moving into the Agile development realm, which is just a more modern development model. It's what all the big companies use. Microsoft's doing it. Netflix is Agile. Google, I think, is Agile. And it just helps deliver improvements to you more consistently, more quickly, with higher quality. There are 2-week iterations. We develop in 2-week cycles. And then at the end of that 2 weeks, everything that's ready, bug fixes, small pieces of features, everything's broken up into little bite-sized chunks. And when it's ready and it's passed through QA, then that gets released at the end of 2 weeks. And then as of March 16th, our development team started working in those 2-week cycles. We call them iterations. Sometimes people call them sprints. At the end of each iteration, we release anything completed, and that gets put out for our hosted clients every 2 weeks. Self-hosted clients will continue to receive quarterly releases, which includes everything that's delivered during that quarter. At the end of that quarter, what they receive should be very, very stable. And of course, if you ever want to take advantage of those 2-week iterations and you have the opportunity to talk about hosting with Agile, our client success team or sales team would be happy to talk to you about that as well. But that approach really allows us to, I know I'm just plugging away, but that approach allows us to bring changes, improvements to you more frequently It maintains stability because we're working in just smaller chunks that allows us to really do very thorough testing and careful planning. Improves the quality that way. The releases are more controlled overall. This is going to get you faster delivery, and that means faster access to new features, as well as faster resolution of issues, continuous improvements to the platform. That faster resolution of issues is really important. If we get something that's a high priority issue that comes in, you don't have to wait so long for that fix to come out. That's something that we can prioritize. We set time aside in each of our iterations to address any issues or support problems that come up. And so that gives us a chance to address things in that little window that we leave open for each iteration. And if nothing comes up and we don't have anything to fill that little open window, then we just pull in more feature work to fill out the rest of the iteration. You'll have smaller, lower risk updates that way. It's just an easier adoption of the new features because it's less to learn all at one time, instead of getting these giant releases that have a lot of documentation to sort through and processes to learn. You can learn piece by piece. It's just a little bit easier to digest those smaller bites. It's lower risk during the updates because there's just less to worry about. And so it becomes a more stable deployment. And it allows us to continually innovate. This makes us more flexible. It makes us more responsive. If something comes up, we can pivot and react more quickly, because we don't have to turn such a giant ship that represents a whole quarter. We're really just talking about 2-week increments. And so we can respond more quickly to your feedback as well. If something comes out and you're not happy with it and we get a bunch of, let's say, I've missed the mark on a new feature, we can respond and react and fix that more quickly by addressing your feedback in 2-week increments instead of waiting until the end of a quarter. We're frequently refining, reprioritizing, and trying to get you high value improvements as opposed to a giant chunk of changes all at once. The before and after state here is maybe a little bit helpful comparison. So before we had these very large releases, it'll be much smaller, more frequent updates instead. You had long wait times for improvements. So now we're going to get you faster delivery of those enhancements. We had these big upgrade events. So it was a whole quarter of work. Now we're going to get that continuous incremental improvement. So you'll see smaller changes over time that are easier to digest. And before, it was harder to respond for feedback because we had to plan, way ahead. Now we can get a faster response to meet your needs more quickly. There'll be faster delivery for those improvements, smaller, lower risk updates, as I mentioned, faster response to your feedback, continuous innovation, and increased flexibility. And release notes will be posted on fcdrive.agilefleet.com. So you can go at any time under documentation and see the release notes. And those version 6.01 release notes are up there now. So everybody can go take a look at those anytime.
Awesome. So on the last note that Alexis had made about pivoting for high value improvements, we actually have a poll that we want to push out there to get y'all's feedback. So I'm going to hit launch on this. And if y'all can rank these for us, the poll question is going to be rank these development initiatives in order of importance to your organization. So new user interface and experience, maintenance module enhancements, in-vehicle dispatch, AI insights and enhancements, configurable dashboards, advanced reporting, less expensive key box options, and automatic reservation reassignment. So this feedback is really important for Alexis and us.
Is it cheating if I fill it out too?
You guys can see the poll currently, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up.
Mike, I haven't done one of these before. Is there a way where it tells me
when folks are done?
yes, like how many are in what category? If I clicked view, do y'all see it too? I have
That's a
4
good question.
responses. 5. So we're going to wait just a minute for everybody to rate these for us.
I see some people aren't seeing it, that may be blocked on their side. So I can send this as a survey in the follow-up email as well.
Okay. I'll give just a few more minutes. Yeah, I'm seeing a few more people are having problems getting into the poll. So I'm going to leave it open for just another minute, and then we can wrap up. And like Mike said, we'll send this out for folks to fill out too. For those of you that have been able to respond, I really appreciate your responses. It's very insightful what we're seeing, and helps the team and Alexis determine if we're focusing on the right stuff or if we need to pivot, right?
Shape our future.
I was waiting for you to come in with some like Ross Geller meme or something, and it's not. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close this poll. I think we got 19 responses total. So from the ranking that we got, looks like new user interface and experience got the most feedback. Configurable dashboards. I'm just going in order from most responses to lowest. So new user interface, configurable dashboards, advanced reporting, automatic reservation reassignment, in-vehicle dispatch, AI insights, less expensive key box options, and then the maintenance module enhancements. So
Awesome.
From the 19 responses, that was the order that they were ranked. So
Thanks,
Awesome.
everyone.
yeah. Are you guys seeing just the PowerPoint slide now?
Correct.
Okay, just double checking while we move on. Well, with that, so it didn't pull through, Brian. Oh man. Okay. Well, Alexis, thank you for sharing information. Brian's got a little surprise for you later. I was wondering what he was working on, why his screen kept flashing white and then dark while we were going through, but he has a fun little picture for you. But just the last few comments as we wrap up. We're going to be moving around as we're hitting conference season. So where will we be? Where will Agile Fleet be? We've got 3 main conferences that we'll be attending in the near future. So we've got NAFA in April, GFX in June, and then NASIF in September. So we will have booths at all 3 of these conferences. So please, if you're going to attend, let us know that you'll be there so that the team can be on the lookout for you and meet up with you and have a free drink on the event, right? Also, not included on this information, but we are finalizing our Command 2026 details. And so as soon as we have that, we will start getting communication out on that. We hope to have that soon. But again, it'll be in the fall, as it has been in the last few years. So we're going to try and stick with that same time of year. And then we will have the location details and exact dates shortly. Our future workshop Wednesdays, again, this is going to be a quarterly cadence that's going to consist of best practices, partner spotlights, and product updates and releases. Next month's session is April 15th, where we're going to discuss best practices within FleetCommander. The theme of the session is Spring Cleaning FleetCommander. We're going to be reviewing items like layouts, data review, workflow checks, smart reporting, and hidden optimizations within the solution. And we'll also have a featured guest presenter from the team for that one as well. One of my favorite, everybody's my favorite at Agile, I'll be honest, but another person I enjoy working with who's a frequent attender of our workshop Wednesdays. In May, we'll be focusing on the impact FleetCommander has on our partners, different partners' operations. We have a wonderful partner we're highlighting. I'm going to keep it a surprise on who it is for now, so we can share that with y'all in April. But we're always looking for clients to brag about. So please share with us what you're doing in your fleet. Client success wants to hear about the unique ways you're using the system and the successes you've had with it. And no idea is too small. And could have a significant impact within your fleet or other fleets. So we would really love to hear about those so that we can share those with the rest of our fleet community. And then again, resources that we always have available for you. Our Workshop Wednesday sessions are recorded and posted to our YouTube page. They're online and they're every third Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Our online resources include webinars, case studies, white papers, and more. And then we also have FC Drive, which is where our training material and manuals are located. So today's information, when the release comes out for 6.01, you will be able to find that on FC Drive, as well as any training materials that we keep up to date for y'all. Last but not least, our Agile Fleet team, ways that you can connect with us. Our client success team has a client success email, so you can reach us at cs@agilefleet.com. You can also obviously reach out to us directly. You've got me, Brian, and Jen here to support you. And then our technical support team is at fcsupport@agilefleet.com. Their phone number is listed here, and they support the phone and the email address Monday through Friday, 7 to 7 Eastern Time. With that, I would love to thank you guys all for attending. We really enjoy being able to provide this information to you. And if you wouldn't mind, please scan the QR code, or once you get the follow-up information, click on the survey link and provide us your feedback. It's really important and very helpful for us to get that information from y'all.